AI isn't here to save you. It's here to expose you. Under the right circumstances, AI is a fantastic tool. It can accelerate your output, it can buy back your time, and it can turn one idea into dozens. But for most people right now, it's a weapon. One that quietly and also unknowingly is turning on themselves. And I've seen this firsthand. Over the past 6 to 8 months, I've spoken to hundreds of people trying to use AI either to grow their business or to build their brand or just get ahead. And over and over and over again, I hear the same thing. The output isn't useful, or I feel like I'm wasting my time, or it doesn't get me. But then I look around in our community and I see people like you and me launching offers. I see founders scaling their systems tremendously with AI, or solopreneurs generating content for themselves or for others, all with AI. So what's the difference? Here is, in my opinion, the truth that many people do not want to admit. AI is not a magic pill. It doesn't fix your chaos. It just amplifies it. It makes a clear idea 10 times better, but it also makes a messy system worse. So what's the difference? Why does AI unlock, 10 times more growth or multiple times more growth for some and nothing but confusion for others? Well, it's not just prompting, and it's clearly not the tools, and definitely not how many AI apps you've downloaded. Trust me on that one. The answer, in my opinion, lies in 3 or 4 skills that most people were never taught. But I see that without them, AI won't help you. It might even bury you. So look, most people treat AI like a vending machine, like this magical intern. You punch in a prompt and then you expect a genius output. But the truth is that you can automate tasks, but not direction. You can delegate outputs, but not clarity. And you can scale your content, but not your thinking. AI should not be your brain. It is your mirror. It reflects the systems, or the lack thereof, that live inside of you. It does not solve the mess. It amplifies it. It multiplies it. If your ideas are fuzzy, the output will be fuzzy. If your priorities are unclear, your prompts are going to be all over the place. And if your systems are broken, AI will just accelerate that breakdown and amplify the chaos. This is, I believe, the core misunderstanding. People think that AI is a shortcut to clarity and success. But clarity was never the problem of speed. It was a problem of structure. And I think AI is a little bit like electricity, It powers whatever wiring you've already built. And if you have no wiring, you got no light. So this is why so many people are, in my opinion, disappointed with AI right now, because they're expecting it to do the work of self-awareness or strategic thinking or communication, all the invisible infrastructure that makes great work possible. But I think that was never the job, right? AI isn't here to replace anyone, although it can. It's here to reflect us at scale. It's here to force a new question. If I can generate anything, do I actually know what I want to say? Do I know how to say it clearly? And can I guide something smarter than me, most of the time, to work in service of my goals? I know it might sound difficult to accept, but I think this is the difference. It's not about better tools, it's about better abilities. If you don't have the ability to organize your mind, to communicate clearly, to direct your attention with intention, I don't think AI will make you more productive. I think it'll just make your overwhelm more efficient. So if AI doesn't fix chaos, what does? If it's not about prompting harder, like I said, or posting more, what is the path forward? Right? That's the million-dollar question. Well, after having worked with hundreds of creators, founders, and solopreneurs and operators, I have seen many patterns. And the ones who succeed with AI without drowning in it, they all have 3 or 4 skills in common. These are skills that no one taught you in school, probably also skills that most online courses skip. They're skills that turn AI from a party trick into an actual unfair advantage. So let's break them down. So first of all, if AI is a mirror, not a savior, then the first question isn't what can AI do, it's how do I show up to work with it, okay? Because I think we need to all agree on probably an uncomfortable truth. If you don't know how to collaborate with humans, you probably won't know how to collaborate with AI either. That brings us to the first and most misunderstood skill, collaboration. But it's not the kind that you're used to, okay? There's a newer type of problem when it comes to people who struggle with AI. I think these are also people who often are poor collaborators, because AI isn't frustrating because it's hard. It's frustrating because you're treating it like that underpaid intern, one who somehow already knows what you mean, what you want, and how to deliver it for the best outcome. But here's the truth that most people don't want to face. I'm gonna say it. The same people who struggle with AI, they also struggle with real people too. There, I said it. I think that's true. AI reflects your collaboration habits back to you. If you jump into meetings with no agenda, then you're probably going to prompt AI with no structure too. And if you expect your team to read your mind, I know so many managers who do that, then you probably will expect the same from your prompts and from your LLM. If you shut down feedback from your teammates, again, lots of people who do that, you will ignore the ideas that AI recommends you. In my opinion, when it comes to good collaboration with humans or AI, you probably need to follow the same rules, It requires clarity, knowing what you're working toward. It requires patience, letting ideas unfold. It requires iteration, being willing to explore together. And it requires mutual respect, even when your partner is a model, not a person. The best collaborators do not assume. They co-build. Because at the end of the day, collaboration is a muscle, And AI just reveals how weak or strong that muscle really is. This is why some people thrive with AI and why others give up. Because the machine does not make anyone better. It just makes us visible. It surfaces our habits, our gaps, and our level of self-awareness. So if you struggle with AI, maybe the issue isn't the tool. Maybe it's the way that you relate to the tool and to creativity itself. So look, a lot of you know that I run most of my systems in Notion. I'm obsessed with it. Strategy, calendars, client CRMs. But what I noticed is that for daily execution with my team, it actually serves us to use Superlist. And it's been a surprising upgrade because it's fast, it's lightweight, and most importantly, it solves the biggest drag in our team's productivity: context switching. Because we used to communicate between Notion and Slack and everything in between, and now every task lives just in one place with notes, with comments, and with updates in line. So instead of bouncing between Notion and Slack and calendars and everything else, like I said, we just use Superlist. And one of my favorite features, especially if you don't want to overcomplicate things with full-on meeting follow-up agents, is that after a meeting, Superlist auto-generates a summary and it turns the key takeaways into actionable tasks automatically for you. There is no more chasing who said what or wondering what needs to happen next. You've got everything in one place. And also, when I'm in a rush, I just drop a voice note and then Superlist turns that into a structured, prioritized set of tasks. And if you're like me and you still rely on Notion, then do not worry, I'm not giving up Notion. Superlist integrates with it, so you don't have to pick one or the other. If you're building fast and juggling multiple tools, then Superlist might just save you a few hours a week. You can try it for free. The link is below. Big thanks to Superlist for partnering with us on today's video. Real collaboration is not about shouting commands. It's about listening and shaping and iterating. The best users of AI, they dialogue, they don't prompt. So once you've learned how to co-create with AI, the next question that usually comes up is, what do you actually ask it to do? Because if your to-do list is chaos, then AI will only multiply the overwhelm. So the second skill that I believe is so critical nowadays is delegation, but not the kind that thinks about task outsourcing, okay? I'm talking about clarity-driven delegation, okay? Most people, they treat AI like this genie, like you're rubbing the lamp and you speak or shout or whatever, a wish, and then you hope that it turns out the way that you imagined. But there's a problem with that, If you can't articulate what you want, then the genie gives you what you've asked for, right? I mean, it's not fair all the time, but if you don't know how to ask for it, that's what you get. Delegation is not magic. It's precision. Whether you're working with a teammate or a freelancer or an AI model, delegation only fails for one reason: you didn't define success clearly enough. Full stop. I mean, it's as easy as that, because real delegation looks something like this. You define the outcome. What does done well or successful look like? You give constraints: what format, what tone, what audience. You share some context. Why are we doing this? What matters? And with AI, it works exactly the same way. If you say, write me a good post, then it's gonna give you a bunch of generic crap. Pardon my French. But if you say something like, summarize these notes into 3 key takeaways with a motivational tone for busy solo founders, now you're delegating. You know what you're asking for and you know what you're expecting in return. And delegation is this two-way street, in my opinion. Most people give vague instructions and then they blame it on the assistant. But delegation isn't one message, it's a loop. You give direction, you get output, you refine, you clarify, you tighten until the quality compounds. And then your intern, your assistant, or your model know exactly how to get to your desired outcome. And I'm gonna say it again. If you struggle with AI delegation, chances are that you also probably struggle with human delegation too. The people who say AI doesn't get me oftentimes are the same ones whose freelancers quit after 3 weeks. Because true delegation isn't just about getting stuff off your plate. I know. It's about creating a shared understanding and shared ownership of the result, right? And delegation forces you to think clearly or fail fast. AI does not forgive ambiguous and fuzzy thinking. If your vision is blurry, then your results are going to be blurry as well. But if you learn to delegate like a founder with precision, with intention, and with patience, you will be amazed at how much leverage you will be able to create, unlock, build, however you want to call it. The best delegators aren't just clear on the task. They are probably even more so clear on the outcome, on the nuances, and on the tone. And when you get that right, AI becomes an extension of your intention. See what I did there? All right, let's move to the next one, because AI doesn't read your mind. It reads your instructions, like I said. So the next skill is the one that everyone thinks they're good at, but actually only few really are. Communication. I know you're thinking, who can't communicate? But look, prompts are conversations, they're not commands. And most people think prompting is a hack. You learn a certain structure and you dump it. It's like a cheat code. You type in a magic phrase and out pops the answer. I don't know. But real prompting isn't about tricking the machine, It's about communicating with it clearly, iteratively, and probably most important, intentionally. I think the easiest way to think about this is that prompts are like briefs. The good ones take work. If you've ever written, a creative brief for a designer or an onboarding document for a new hire, you already know what makes a great prompt. It has context, it sets clear goals, it defines constraints, and it leaves room for creativity without sacrificing direction. Look, great prompts are not short. They're sharp. Okay, you also don't need to write 5 pages of prompt. You need to crystallize it and communicate it clearly. Your output will only be as good as your input. If you feed vague and passive language into your AI, you are going to get vague and passive results back. If you ask AI to write me a bio, it's going to hallucinate and guess a lot. But if you say, turn this list of facts into a bio that sounds confident or warm or visionary for an audience of, high-ticket coaching clients, that's a conversation. That is clear communication. And prompting is about precision as much as it is about empathy. The best AI prompters, they're not necessarily tech people. They are strong communicators. They know how to speak to different audiences, including machines, AI models. They treat AI like a creative partner, not like a vending machine. And also not like a therapist or a god. I don't know. So maybe you want to have refinement as part of your process, because even the best prompts are not always going to get it right the first time. And that doesn't mean you failed. It just means that you collaborate, that you give feedback, and then you iterate. Prompting isn't one message. It's a tango. It's a dance between your thinking and the model's understanding and its response. Because, nowadays we have infinite generation. So what you want is to make sure that your quality becomes your edge. Because anyone can generate content nowadays. There is literally no shortage of that. But the person who can guide the model with nuance, with strategy, with clarity, that's the person who wins. Do not use prompts as magic spells. They're not. They're the final mile of your thought process. And in my opinion, what makes a great prompt is a clear idea behind it. And that's why, even though in the beginning I wanted to make this a 3 skills video, I ended up adding a fourth one, because I think this could probably be the most important one. And it's not about execution at all. It's about what happens before you even touch your keyboard, before you end up delegating, before you end up prompting and communicating. This skill is about how you spark ideas and how you nurture original ideas in this age of infinite content. So this is about creative ideation and how you think with AI, not just through it. Because I said many times, AI is not a magic pill. It's not a magic lamp. You do not need to rub it in any way or say any magic spells and brilliance will appear. It's not about that. Real creation doesn't work like that, and neither does real thinking. So look, many times I speak to people who expect to summon AI for finished ideas. But I think what needs to happen is that you need to layer them, to shape them, to discover them. And I read this in The Creative Act by Rick Rubin. He was saying that the seed of your idea is not the finished piece. It's the beginning of a conversation. And AI isn't here to replace that conversation. It's here to create the space for you to have it, okay? And be your partner as you're doing that. So you want to use AI as your thinking partner, not as a typing assistant. So it's important to feel comfortable to engage imperfectly, because the best ideas come from people who don't expect brilliance on command. It comes from people who enter the room and test the shape of a thought and let the process take them somewhere and surprise them. From asking yourself, what should I write, to what am I actually thinking? And then AI will help you stop chasing the perfect output and start following ideas that are worth exploring. And when you start doing that, you will see that it changes everything. Because the room where great thinking happens is a room that AI can create for you. It'll not give you finished thoughts, but it will help you stay in that room long enough to finish them yourself. Not as your assistant or your typing partner, like I said, but more as your painters or artists assistant, helping you lay more strokes on your canvas, meaning your conversation. So look, if you're wondering why AI hasn't worked for you yet, maybe ask yourself, am I clear enough to collaborate? Am I precise enough to delegate? Am I intentional enough to communicate? And am I open enough to pursue new ideas? All right, that was it for today. I really hope this sparked some ideas for you. I really hope that you got some new insights. Let me know in the comments down below if you have. And in the meantime, if you want to come and join our community, it is completely free. You will be learning a ton of things and you will be practicing with over 10,000 other people who are on the exact path as you are. We have challenges every 2 weeks, which have a very clear outcome and step-by-step guidance. So you will be able to take an idea and turn it into reality and roll up your sleeves and try that yourself. So we'll put the QR code here. Come and join us anytime. And in the meantime, like this video if you did, be sure to subscribe if you haven't done so, and also share this with anyone in your circle of friends or family who you think might benefit from understanding a little bit more about how to work with AI. Until next time, I suggest you go ahead and watch this video over here, and I'll see you soon. Bye!